Welcome to SchezzWho, everybody. Today is July 3rd, 2024, and we got a good show lined up tonight. I'll bring on Harold Carothers III, a candidate for Portsmouth mayor, who is running right alongside Councilwoman Lisa Lucasberg and current Mayor Shannon Glover. Now, before I bring on Mr. Carothers and the panel on to discuss Portsmouth and the mayor candidacy itself, I want to shout out that the things that keep this show going. And as we know, Andrea Dixon Chesviner is the GOAT. I thank her for getting this show off the ground and consistently providing the accountability to help me improve. And I love you. Dennis Hooperson at Southern Volkswagen in Chesapeake will hook you up with what you need for good quality cars and service for them too. Um, Ellen's Homestyle and Barbecue. I always want to shout that out. Let me get the banner for that up right here. Ellen's Homestyle and Barbecue with two locations, one on Indian River Road across from Regent University in Virginia Beach and 4206 Portsmouth Boulevard in Portsmouth. Great place for excellent food in the 757. Also want to shout out Mr. Seiko Varner at Positive Vibes Incorporated with entertainment and consulting services, helping out with credit fixes and tax resolutions, lending money and debt consolidation. Hit them up with that email and that phone number to make sure that you get all the help that you need. All right, so what I want to do, bring that banner off and bring on the guest for tonight. That will be Mr. Harold Carothers, who is running for mayor in Portsmouth. He's the third. And bring on my co-panelist, Mr. Sergio O'Neill, also a resident of Portsmouth. So hope everyone's doing well tonight. It's a great opportunity to have you on, Mr. Carothers. I want to ask right off the bat, how are you doing on this July night?
Man, I'm doing great, man. Just enjoying this beautiful day. How about yourself?
I'm doing well as well. Was out and about in Portsmouth. It's not as hot as it was the past couple of days, but I'm glad to know going into this 4th of July, middle of the week, that Portsmouth's doing mostly good. So I'm glad you're doing well. I'm glad Sergio's doing well. And I want to lead off, at least topically for me, that I moved to Portsmouth from Virginia Beach a couple of years back. And in many ways, I find this city charming. And in many ways, I do find the city lacking. So when you're running for mayor, let's start off with the why that you would like to run for mayor.
I mean, like you say, it's obviously a lot of things that's going wrong in Portsmouth right now, and somebody needs to step up. Um, I've noticed problems. I mean, very, very serious problems. Going back as far as 8 years. It's been a lot of um confusion and bad administration going on down there, and it's really affecting the people, and a lot of people are not taking accountability for what they're doing, and being that they're not taking accountability and no one is stepping up to tell the truth and to help the people is actually damaging the city so bad now that you got kids dying on the street. It's affecting the education. I was looking at, I see Norcom rates. That's the coming at 315 out of 326 schools in the state. That is horrible. So the Portsmouth School District is actually 118 out of 131. That is terrible. The streets are terrible. You got places like Parkview where they got flood bad. You got places like Cavalier Manor where the flooding is completely taking over the city. And you got lack of accountability with downtown when you want to speak to anybody about it. I personally myself calls, I don't get responses. I get thrown off, and also you get treated as though you're nothing. Everything that they said that they were supposed to bring to the city is actually hurting the people a lot more than helping them. Example, I know when I graduated high school here in Portsmouth, um, you could get a nice house out Cavalier Manor for not even $100,000. We're gonna say about $90,000 to $100,000. Now these houses are $300,000. Is the unaffordability is major. No one is fighting for the tolls. The tolls is a direct destruction to the city and the people in the city, and also the businesses in the city. But don't nobody want to speak up on that. The tax rate is so ridiculous that it makes people don't want to live here and don't want to shop here. And they pretty much just taking over the city, and no one want to speak up and do nothing about it. And I said, somebody got to step up. And other than, just talking about it and being friends, dancing around everybody and selling out, I said, I'm going to do something different, because the kids got to have the same future that we had. I would like them to have the same place that we came up in. And somebody got to step up. And I notice it's the same people, and the people that's running, their friends with the same people, and nothing is changing. Mm-hmm. Everybody's just talking, they running their mouth. Don't nobody speak to you until it's election time. Don't nobody care about you. Like, literally, and nobody will speak up. I remember I went to Montana to do a little bit of work, and I was in Montana, and everybody had asked me, like, are you from Virginia? I said, yeah. They said, did you see what's going on in Churchill High School in Virginia? Now, I'm in Montana. And they're talking about a teacher, a high school junior varsity coach, getting in the game and playing. Now, the first thing I thought of, none of the students would say nothing about that. And how, as an adult, can you allow the city to take on that name? I mean, you look at the city council meetings. I remember looking at the city council meetings, and this one I really knew I had to do something. I heard it was they was talking about a project about how these contractors, they're coming in, they're tearing up the street, like the Court Street project, which is ridiculous. That. Don't get me started on that. But anyway, and somebody said, I think that you should put online to let people know approximately what's going on and have an update, every 2 weeks. I heard them take their personal reasons. Now, mind you, being a mayor, that is a privilege. That is a privilege to the people. That is not a job. I don't know what these people saying. Like, I seen them raise their pay, saying to talk to the people. First off, being a mayor is a privilege. Being on the city council is a privilege to the people. You are there because you want to see what's done best for the people, not yourself, not your personal reasons. Throw your personal reasons out of that and bring home. Like, you're supposed to do what's best for the people. And I heard them deny the people good things, like having the construction company notify them when changes are going to be made and to let them know when they're going to start and their end date. This is something that you can put in the contracts. And if they don't want to do it, fine them. This is for the people. I mean, something as small as that, and seeing them arguing back and forth. They was talking about how this person is taking money and that person is putting money on the desk, but you're not real enough to stand up for the people that's getting robbed, because you're not getting robbed. I sat there and watched them fire city manager after city manager, close to $900,000. $900,000 because of their personal reasons.
Yep.
And let's go to something that nobody wants to speak up for. Let's go to the start of it. That monument downtown that they brung down. Now, I'm not into personal reasons, but let's be honest. The officer at that time did her job, which I done been to a lot of sites. That monument was over 6 feet, 4 to 6 feet. OSHA got a violation, states that if you're climbing something above 4 to 6 feet, you have to be harnessed. So let's just be safety. Somebody going up that high, that was their right to tell them to stop. Now, the officer did what was right, and nobody stood by her decision. They crucified her. And ever since that crucifixion, no officer can feel safe or feel comfortable working in the city, because if he do his job or she do her job to the best of their ability, what they train every day and what they go to work each and every day with pride, that help take care of the neighborhoods and their community. This is what they do. They can't do this now because they know that they're going to leave them to dry. Nobody stood up for it. And what they did, they sued the city. But these are the same representatives that's supposed to be representing the city.
Indeed.
See, these are things, and a lot of people are too scared to speak up. I done been through a lot of things in my life, and one thing about it, go on my page, you can read about my life. I ain't perfect, but I'm real enough to speak up for my mistakes, and I will not let nobody take advantage of the good people. I will not do it. I'm somebody that you can trust, and I know that I'm somebody I can trust, because if I would turn in my own family for doing wrong, do you not think that I would speak up for the people?
Sounds about right.
See, I figured that this job right here, which I noticed, I seen all them city council members, and and if to every city council member that see this, my question to you is, why wouldn't you run for mayor? Look, if I make mayor, that'll get rid of the two biggest problems we got in this city. The two biggest problems. Let's be honest. The mayor position here is not like an Eric Adams position of mayor in New York. That means that the mayor here don't have that type power. They have a vote, one vote, the same vote that each council member has. And at the end of the day, they're telling you they're going to do this, they're going to do that. They could have did the same thing today. They don't have to wait to November to do it. They could do that today just as well as they could have did it yesterday or the years before then. They decided not to do that. So I'm not trying to hurt. I say, you know what, I can run for city council, but no, I want to help the people. And to help the people is to face them, is to get the problem out of the city. The problem is them. I'm real enough to stand up to them. I'm real enough to say, that makes no sense. You'll never have to worry about me making the wrong decision because I'm going to make the moral decision for the people. Example, the first day in there. What is going on with these hoes? Okay, I got another thing. People ask me, say, why don't you be at their events? First off, I follow the Bible. Evil communication corrupts good manners. I cannot sit around and dance and play with these people that so-called friends, knowing that they're leaving my kids, their kids, my kids' friends, and my schoolmates, my neighbors, their kids to death. They are planning funerals and mental and psychiatry visits for the PTSD from the gunshots in the neighborhood, the fireworks going off, the cars speeding up and down the street. This is PTSD. They have to plan and spend this time to help their kids, and they out there partying. They out there partying. And nobody speaks up for it. And I'm here to let you know. I'm here to speak up for it.
So you're here to speak up for them. You're here in the community showing that you are going to step up running for mayor because you have, as we've heard in the past few minutes, quite a bit of reasons why you would like to represent the citizens of Portsmouth. I want to tap in my good friend, Mr. Sergio O'Neill, who's been listening along, and what might be his first question of the evening?
So my first question is simple. I always ask people, what is your background as far as like community engagement, civic engagement? Are you like on any boards and commissions? Have you worked with any community nonprofits? Things of that nature. That way, we can, we as voters can gauge like your level of activity within the community. Because a lot of people don't know some of the people that are doing the work in the community. Because to me, name recognition, it drives a lot of the votes here in Portsmouth, unfortunately. However, what people don't realize is that there are a lot of other people whose name isn't out there as much, who do a lot of good work, and they really go unrecognized. So, whatever engagement you have or whatever, we would love to know.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I do a lot of the background work. I'm gonna tell you this. I talk to a lot of the guys that you just said that do that type of work, and I'm not the type like I could show you. I could show you pictures where I'm there, trying to help the kids, but I do a lot of talking to those guys and mentoring them because I'm gonna be honest. What I notice in a lot of situations is that a lot of these guys, they are in that position because of something that they're holding inside. And me personally, I have a lot of knowledge on a lot of things. Like I'm gonna tell you again, go on my page. It got some pinned on top, and you can see how I am about my research and how I find out things. But what I did, I noticed that I have a lot of kids. I have a lot of kids that I individually touch. Like I'm that type of person that if I know you, and I'm gonna be honest, I find a lot of things kind of funny, and the reason I feel as though I don't have that much time to make it big and to be seen is because I have a friend right now, and I go around his house, and son may need an issue, and versus me sitting and saying what I can do, I show what I can do. Just like right now, I'm trying to come up with a program where I want to do flights, just try to get the kids in the flights with me. But I talk to a lot of the people that run these organizations, and I actually counsel them so that they could be a better person. That's why, like I said, go to my page and you see what I let out as far as my life. And one of the reasons why I did that is because people can understand that, we all somebody, everybody go through something, and it's not wrong and it's not weak and you're not nothing different to share that. So I do deal with a lot of people on that side, but as far as the organizations, I wouldn't say their name out like that, because me, that would be phony. I deal with people that helps the organizations. How about that?
All right, Mr. Sergio, would you like to follow up?
Yeah, and I think that's fair. Because being on both sides of the coin, I know, there are times where I really truly don't want to be the center of attention. I really don't. And it's more of the time than not, because it's not about me, it's for the greater cause. And we got to stop putting a lot of making it about names and who is doing what. Is about the action that's taking place.
Exactly.
There's enough of action that go around for everybody, really. We all play our part. My
Yeah.
second question would be, if you were elected, what would you do different? Because I heard a couple of the points that you touched on, and one thing I'm very big on is accountability, and I like that you brought that word up, because as you said, we have had a lot of turnover and a lot of talent that was in positions to operate this city and to take this city to the next level, to go right out the door. And look at the financial and the embarrassment, the financial cost and the embarrassment it has caused this city nationwide, internationally. I don't think I've ever seen a city council as a body collectively be thrown into such chaos and confusion, and all my time for paying attention to that group. And so I would really like to know what's one of the things or several of the things you would do differently to take that narrative away from Portsmouth, because we can't afford it.
Man, the first thing I would do, like I believe in, you got to go to the root of the problem to fix it. First thing the people in this city deserve is an apology. That's the first thing I do. I would have to sit and I would apologize to, number one, the people, the citizen that done dealt with it. I'm talking about, you got people that their personal property tax done went up 3 times, and they, instead of them moving, they steady dealing with the city because they got faith. So you got to thank them. Number two, I got to thank the police officers, because they stand by no matter what. They the ones got to deal with these kids getting killed every day. They the ones that got to go be there for you when you disrespect them and tell them you don't care about them. But when you're out of town and something happened to your mama, they're the ones that's there for her. They're the ones that's spending the time with these kids. And number three, I had to thank these teachers, because number one, I don't know if y'all paid attention to that STEP program that they got in this city, but it's wrong. It is wrong. And first thing I'm going to call Cardell, you need to bring your hind parts down here, and we need to talk. Because at the end of the day, if you got people that work for this city, if they don't feel appreciated for what they done been through and what they done, you don't have nothing. That's number one. Number two, let's get the people their sense of freedom back. These people right now, you got all these cameras around here. Now, I'll take it to another level on what 5G do to you, because I know a lot about frequencies. What the 5G and the 2.4 gigahertz is do to you. Matter of fact, that is something strong. But we're not gonna go that far right now. But these cameras, these criminals don't got these license plates. They license plates not registered. How is these cameras is gonna help the city? All they're doing is hurting everybody in the city, the hardworking people. Somebody, you might have been late going to pick up your child. You might have been going late for school. These cameras, and then like these flock system, I know all about it. This flock system that all these other cities and states are letting go because they see it ain't nothing but a scam. Reporting false crimes, and also that every day I wake up, I see a missing child. Ain't there one of them cameras help get one of them missing child? So what is them cameras for? They hurting the people that's out here trying to do what they need to do. They are hurting the people. That first thing I'm gonna do, go see that contract. That contract got to go. That contract got to go. It got to go. You cannot hurt the people for the lack of your ability to do that. The next thing, we got to get police officers in here. We got to get police officers. We can't, first off, how you gonna say you're gonna bring a business here? Ain't no business gonna come here. If you ain't got law, you don't have order. I don't care what nobody say. You got to have law to have order. And if you don't want law, you obviously don't want order. And I have kids that got friends, that got other friends and nieces and nephews. I grew up in this city. And one thing we always had respect for was the police. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get the law and order back, and I'm going to let the people in the city know. I'm going to talk to them people on that council board first thing. Don't worry about it. We're going to get on. I'm going to talk to them, and we're going to all get on the same page and let them know that personal stuff got to go out the window. You're not here to be personal. You're here to do the best for them people out there. So we need to talk back. We need to get up back with Youngkin and see how we can get this money that some so-called senator let go off the table to get these tolls out here. Because a lot of people are getting tickets. They can't register their cars. You understand what I'm saying? Because they owe these tolls. And it's another problem. If that belongs to the state, why isn't it evenly paid for by the state? Why is it that only people that tunnel hurt is the people of Portsmouth and the people of Norfolk? That is not fair. They need to do something about that.
All right. I want to follow up. You had mentioned about bringing in more police. I had noticed an interview with Councilman Barnes, I think just last night, where he said that part of helping the community is going to involve bringing in more police, but it isn't just that to help out the community. Is that part of your top of the agenda is to bring in more police, or do you have other ideas that might improve?
You have to bring in more police. You have to. That is number. If you don't bring in more police, you are retarded. As a matter of fact, how about this? How about you go out there to crowd out to tell Miss Cavina, whose son just got hit by a stray bullet, that you don't need more police? Huh? How about that? How about you tell the parents that's out here that they got to bury their kids that you don't need police? And now I'm gonna be honest, that ain't a big that is 90% of the problem. But the main problem that I'm also gonna address is the parents need to start raising their kids. That is a problem. You cannot have an issue with your child, call the police to come and get that bad child out of your house, and then be mad at the police officer for having to do his job. They sit around and talk about this is not the issue. Who's gonna come here? Do you not know insurance rates goes up? They want to talk about business and they know everything. First off, if you start a business here, you got the highest tax rates. Don't nobody want to do that. Number two, you got the tunnel. Ain't nobody gonna spend $20 just to come to your store. Number three, you got insurance. You got insurance. These businesses insurance is a lot higher because they got boys riding up and down the street shooting their guns. You got people doing donuts in the middle of the street. It's no order because there's no law. And if you don't enforce the law, there's no need to have the law if you're not going to enforce it. And cameras cannot enforce the law. I don't know what's wrong with them. They sit around. They don't care about nothing. And these police officers, they have to feel as though they're welcome. This is a terrible job. Just imagine going in and seeing a dead child, and then going home to your wife and your kids and having to tell your wife and your kids what you've seen. I mean, no, trying to keep that from them. That's gonna mentally drive you crazy. But you have to keep that from them because you want them to have a safe life and you don't want them to have to go through this. The same thing with firefighters and paramedics. They have to see this and go home. But yet when they go out, they're scared to go to crime scenes because there's not enough police officers. What is wrong with them? I don't care. I get rid of all them cameras and spend those millions on police officers. $50,000 to go and come up here. No, I'll raise that. Do what you got to do to get them in here. Make them feel good so they'll want to stay here and treat them like something.
All right, Mr. Sergio, follow up.
So I will say this, and I definitely understand, we need the manpower. However, I think, again, in the accountability terms, part of this crime issue rests on the citizens as well. And the reason why I say that, and maybe wherever they get their level of comfort with coming forward and, letting people know, what the reality of the situation is, I don't know. I can't speak for everybody. But I will say this, you can have 90,000 police officers in Portsmouth. If we don't have the citizenry, to step up and to do their part, and when they see something going on, to report it or whatever the case might be, the police, that's not what the police job to do. Is just, to be the catch-all for the issue, and then on top of that, when it comes time to prosecute, we have a problem in that department too.
That's exactly. Yeah. I was gonna get on that too, and I was gonna say that too. I want to watch it. Yeah. We see that every day. And that's another reason why the guys still do what they do. There's no consequence. There's no consequence. And that was another thing I was saying. It's funny. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
No, what I was going to say is, again, that's a part of that is having, people that's willing to step up and make sure that those that are out here doing stuff, against the community, against law and order, they should not make the take the necessary steps for those individuals not to be a part of society or whatever the case might be. That's what it has to be. There is more than, and again, it's not to turn or whatever, but that's the reality, the full the holistic side of it is where all accountability lies. On another thing I wanted to look at, I appreciate what you bringing up with the topic of education. For what it's worth, I'm going to say this. I'm going to be, and I hope everybody knows I'm being perfectly fair. I think our school system, compared to from what I've seen, you know, being education advocate from I would say over the last 10 years, we've made great strides in our school system, with especially with Dr. Bracy coming on as the superintendent of Portmouth Public Schools, coming from an area that prides itself on education and trying to take our kids to the next level. That's surely. However, again, we had some struggles with there too, because we have some council people that love to say, had whatever, everybody saying, we're committed to public education. However, there's more than just a minimum standard of funding that has to be in play when it comes to being, quote unquote, we're priding ourselves on public education. There has to be more than that, just the minimum funding. And I think that's where the disconnect is that people say, oh, well, yeah, they gave school system every dollar they asked for. That's true. But they did it on a minimum basis. So that, they meet there's a thing called the standards of quality that people might not know about. That means that basically says this is the minimum standard that you have to have in order for, to meet, in order to receive a quality level of service in education, whatever that position may hold. So if we're going to keep saying that, we're funding our schools, well, let's be holistically honest. Like, are we funding them to like the minimum, the bare minimum? And you can do that, but then do our students achieving at a bare minimum rate? Yeah, I mean, you put two and two together, you kind of see that. So I mean, yeah, they are, council did give them what they asked for, but it's at a bare minimum. So that we have to push the narrative and say, hey, are we doing our students a service and funding them at a bare minimum rate? Because guess what? There's a thing called educational equity, which means that doesn't mean every student get the same thing. That means giving each individual student what they need as an individual to be successful. And so that varies across the board. So our council has to think in that mindset. Our mayor has to think in that mindset as well. So let's clear that up. I'm really interested as to see, as far as like what you said about our school system. What do you see yourself doing as mayor to change that narrative of being happy with the bare minimum standards?
I mean, I've been talking to some teachers for the past couple of days about this, because I had a friend, I looked at I asked him a question. I asked him to spell something. He couldn't spell it. So he was at the grade level that he was at in the question I asked him. I noticed it was an issue. So I've been starting to ask teachers, and all right, one of the main problems is, like I said, the sets. If before you go to set number 1 in Portsmouth, you have to be 7 years experience. Now, that's before you move to set 1. Now, if you go to Chesapeake, 1 year experience in Chesapeake, you go to set A. 2 year experience, you go to set B. You have to stay at set 0 all the way to the 7th, going on the 8th year. Then you'll go to set 2, and their pay actually stays the same through the whole 7 years. See, I've been doing my research, and I looked at this. That right there gives no teacher. When I talk to the teachers like, it's no incentive. I mean, in the beginning, Portsmouth, they pay us a lot, but if you don't get a raise for 7 years, and after I've been teaching for 3 years, I can go to Chesapeake, then I'm going to do that because that's better for me. So off top, that's number one. That's one thing that got to be adjusted before you even go to the big budget. Because like I had told one of them, of course, everybody gonna holler about money, but like what I tried to tell them, it's a budget, and y'all got to stick within your budget. And what I noticed, like Norcom per se is spending $9,100 per child. Every child in the city of Portsmouth get free lunch. You may not understand the difference that they make, but when you got a percentage like 100.2, which makes no sense to me, kids getting free lunch in the city, that's a waste of money. So somebody need to do their job. And what I'm willing to do is meet with them and help them go over these things, because Yes, you can say, well, we can help and we can do these things. And a lot of people always cry about money. Like example, the LPR program. I looked that person up, seen his cases that he done been through and everything that you see on these vehicles that ride past. Now, this is it was a car service from the airport. He ended up owing them some money, went to court on that. This is public information. And now he have a contract. Now, how much are we paying for personal school chauffeurs? Because I'm gonna be honest, what is the accountability on the parents? There's no reason we should be paying to have a student have a personal driver to and from school. A lot of people can come up with a reason, because people can come up with a reason for everything. But truth be told, from the way we grew up, see, that teaches a child accountability, that teaches them to be on time, that teaches them a lot of things. So how much is this LPR program getting paid when gas is almost $4 a gallon? So these are programs that we have to look at. Like, we have to look at this. You understand? Because another thing, you talk to the school bus drivers, they feel some kind of way because the LPR drivers end up getting paid more than they do. And they're bringing a lot more kids. So, I've been spending a lot of time, talking to teachers to understand and the feeling. Like, example, I was talking to a teacher and they were saying, like, the kids are so bad. And the kids are bad because of the lack of the parents. And when they go to try to go up, they don't get nowhere. They said the child will get one day in the ass, now the child's back in the class disrupting the child. So in other words, how can they teach? So it's a lot easier to say we're going to throw around money, we're going to do this, that, and third, but none of that is going to fix the problem. You can get every teacher that $80,000 help with the cost of learning adjustments and everything, but it's still not going to stop the kids from going in there, disrupting the class, cussing them out, fussing at them, making them feel some kind of way. And when they go to the guidance counselor and everything, they're saying, well, you have to pass this child. Because truth be told, I've been looking at the numbers, and I'll send them to you when we get off here. The numbers for the Portsmouth education system, they can't get worse. They can't get worse. And I don't care what nobody say. We can go and talk to the kids, talk to the teachers. They will tell you that them 5th grade students are reading at a 2nd grade level. And if you do the research, COVID actually destroyed them. So that we need to get a program in so that we can get this knowledge back, because that'll free the teachers on complaining, because they're going to complain about more money when there's nothing else to complain about. And like I said, these are things when they say they talk to the school board, and then the school board, they go to the city, and the city, of course, they're not real enough to talk to them about the situation. But me personally, I would bring up these issues. I would talk to them about the situation. They will make cost adjustments. And, we can see how, first off, the steps have to be changed. That has to be changed. So that's the first thing I'm going to advocate for. They have to be changed, because the kids not only see in Portsmouth, you got a different level that you have to pay these teachers, because they're not just teachers, they're counselors. If a child get killed and was one of their kids, they have to counsel all the students in the class and explain to them what's going on. Also, when a child come in arguing from mama and no father figure being in the house, or father, no mother, or both of them just arguing because they don't want to be there, the teacher has to deal with that. So in Portsmouth, being that the crime rate is so high, it makes it harder for the teachers just to straight up do their job. And instead of them just saying, I want to give up, they're going to ask for more money. And that's something that we have to help them with.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a similar mindset that just throwing money at problems isn't the best way to handle it, if you also know that Portsmouth City Council recently voted to give themselves more money?
Ridiculous. That's how you know they don't care about you. They ain't have no issue with that. They had no issue voting that one in there. What, 96% of their salary? You really, and I read the article. See, I'm not the type of person that says that I'm going to say something now because I knew I was running. But that's ridiculous. You can give yourself a raise for what? What do they do? What do they do? Let me tell you something. I don't have nothing wrong with people getting paid when you're doing a great job. But that is a disgrace, and that's a punch in the face. They come around here, watch you burn your kids, watch you hurt your neighbors, take every dime out your pockets, rape you each and every way they can. Get a casino built in the middle of nowhere when they should have put that on the water that took on the jail, but yet going to ask you to spend $46,000 to fund this jail. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? That's somebody that don't care about you. They're going to sit there in the meeting when they say, well, we need y'all to come up with $46 million to fund the jail, when a casino here that ain't going to do nothing but kill the community and get them more tax money from the people in Cavalier Manor because, oh, your house is all of a sudden worth $100,000 more. Like you was going to sell your house. The only reason that helped them is because now you got to pay $100,000 more in taxes. It's sad, man. It's sad.
Mr. Sergio, follow up if you would.
Okay, so I'm glad that's another good point. So again, you know, I wasn't a fan of the casino based on location, but it is here, and the revenue is coming from it. So with that being said, you know, what are some of your budget priorities to, you know, now that we have this new we have $20 million of new revenue that has come in from the casino so far. What would you like to see as mayor come up as a budget priority and what do we need to fix beyond, you know, besides, you know, the educational piece or whatever the case and the public safety piece?
First thing, I believe that we was all sent here to make the utopia that we could come up with in our mind. You know what I mean? And I look at a building like I see the court. Like, look at all this. Look at all the money they spent on that courthouse, right? And they won't even pressure wash it. They won't even clean it. Look at the building they got right there on, was that Victory right there where they house the school buses? They won't even clean it. They won't cut the grass. So first off, take care. You have to lead the example. First off, I can't tell y'all to take care of the community and I'm slashing the city and don't care nothing about it. First thing I want to do is see the people get what they pay for. I mean, it might not be much, but we pay for that city hall building. And when people go to that city hall building, or when people are having their meetings and they want to walk downtown, they deserve to be able to look at a clean building. What's that Tidewater yacht? Is that Tidewater yacht? It's Tidewater yacht right there. The yacht club. Yeah. And that Tidewater yacht club beside the that big downtown, the garage.
I think so.
It's either that or Ocean Yacht Marina. It's one of them. I can't remember. It's one of those two because those are the two that we do have down here. That is a beautiful place where you got fish and slips where you can go sit down on the roof. You can sit around and just enjoy the area, and that's a long-standing customer. But they have a major eyesore beside. They won't even pressure wash the building. They won't even pressure wash the garage. So in other words, like I have friends that, and what a lot of people need to understand, kids are always learning. You can't say, I want this child to learn, I want this child to learn now. No, they're always learning. So what they see is what they believe. It's nowhere in Portsmouth you can go and get a breath of fresh air. Like I was at City Park the other day. Look at the colors. Brown? Are you serious? I thought Portsmouth was white and blue. Why? I know why they painted their colors. It's easier to maintain. But at the end of the day, if the people paying to maintain it, why don't you do your job? I want the city to be cleaned up. Like, example, if you're going to invest in the city, like, all right, I feel bad for Rivers Casino because have you ever got off the interstate, go through the downtown tunnel and get off the interstate right there at the boulevard to go to the casino? It looks terrible. They won't even cut the grass. Better yet, cut down the trees. Now, okay, I thought about this a long time. You can say, well, you know, if you cut down the trees, that's going to be costly. I'm going to tell y'all something that y'all don't know. I love to educate the people. One thing about it, answer. These trees right here are planted. Most of them are male trees. Most of them are male. They didn't plant female trees because if you plant female trees, they'll drop seeds. Now, the problem with growing male tree after male tree, planting male tree after male tree, you're going to have pollen. Now, what's the number one issue with the people around this city? Nasal infections from the pollen all in the air. So if common sense tell you that that's what the issue's coming from, when you give these people these cheap contracts for land that you shouldn't have gave them for $150K, we all know what I'm talking about. You could at least throw something like that in there. Mm-hmm. For the casino deal, I would have made them clear half them trees and grow and put new ones up there. Why? Because at the end of the day, they're an eyesore. And number two, they're affecting the people's health. Pollen is killing people around here. It's killing people around here. That is like, they need to take certain things like that in order. Budget, let me tell you something what they need to do. I'm going to hit you with something. First off, What I would do is get on the phone with Dominion Energy, since they care so much about the city. And if they care so much about the city, what they need to do is do like you do in all the other rich neighborhoods, sir. Put these lines underground. Now, you saying, that's going to cost a lot of money. What, put all the electricity wires underground? Yes. Put the electricity wires underground. You know why? You're raping people with these meters. Now, while you're putting these wires and all this stuff underground, the city can actually come in and do something to help with the plumbing. You know what? Just like in Salt Lake City, Montana, and all these places that got flood issues, what you're supposed to do, fix that pump station, because I'm tired of seeing them rented pumps at these pump stations that they should pay somebody to fix. And another thing, like I said, while they doing the lines underground, they can put a system to help suck out the flood. Suck out the flood water, pump the flood water, and push it back into the city reservoir. Versus charging people this high money for water when there's flood water everywhere. Help the people. They run up the property line values, but when it rains, people, they can't even get in their car to leave. So you know what? Y'all talk to Dominion and take the money from them for your personal gain. Why not talk to Dominion Energy and tell them that it's time for them to put these electricity lines underground, just like they do in a regular community? That'll get a city room and a way to do a bunch of stuff, just like that down there in Court Street project. Everything should be done. It should be done. Why? They're going to have them put all that stuff down to come and tear it back up? They don't care about the people in the city. See, the people downtown, if they get the people to do their jobs, it'll fix a lot of things. Like I seen somebody post on the Voices of Portsmouth about how right in front of their house, it was a cave-in. It was a major cave-in. If you call Dominion Energy to start putting these poles in the ground, you can get a lot of stuff done, and you can really help the people. Things like that. I want to get in on the contracts. Put real stuff in the contracts instead of saying, I'll sign anything if you give me $10,000. I ain't going to tell nobody. Like, help the people. These are things that have to be done. People can't go to work when it rains, and yet they won't even clean the ditches. But got a whole ditch crew. I ride by and see these city workers, 4 in a truck every day, doing nothing. What about the pothole patching truck? You got to take pride in the workers. See, what people don't do, a lot of people don't notice, and I've been doing it for a long time, is just sitting back looking at the ignorance and the irresponsibility that they're doing with the money. And for real, the money is here. The city is rich. They're playing poor because of how they treating people in the ignorant way they spending money. Have you seen that pickup truck with a dumpster in the back? Make that make sense when all the trucks that's picking up trash is rented. Big truck rentals? Are you serious? But they won't even fix or pay a mechanic to make sure they service right. You got guys out here, because I was on the pothole patching crew back in 2003, that they sold, and I don't know if they sold it yet, but they selling truck 8217 or 8517, 8215, these two trucks. I know 8217 was one of them, pothole patching trucks, and they got these guys shoveling out the back of it like they was before I started working in 2000. What is going on? Not know what they doing with the money, but buying big dog trucks like they're better than everybody. See, stuff like that need to be stopped and done up in the beginning. Then they wouldn't have issues with the money. You wouldn't have to rape the people.
All right, Mr. Sergio, got to follow up on that.
Yeah, so I mean, and I'm definitely a fan of fiscal responsibility. You know, we definitely have to, every dollar that we get, because we are in such a cash-strapped city, I should say, based on population and tax base wise, that we definitely have to look at, make sure we spend every dollar wisely. One thing I am not a fan of is spending money on severance packages unnecessarily.
Oh, don't get started on that. Oh my God.
And the decisions that they make, So on the fiscal responsibility piece, what do you think? And the big driver that I've heard is, we have people on our city council that love to play this narrative of racism and, oh, well, look at this golf course, they ain't paid taxes and all this phony crap. And like this stuff hasn't been going on since that person has been on council. Where do we start looking at and say, hey, look, how do we make sure that everybody is paying their fair share of taxes, making sure that everybody is being held accountable, in an equitable manner? That way it's not, the burden is not on one group of people per se, or however they try to spin it?
First off, I was taking these long trips, and I flew out to Utah, and I would take a drive from Utah to Montana, just driving. And to clear my mind, I used to listen to people like Josh Hawley, Ted Cruz, Senator Kenny Kennedy, Jordan. What's my boy? Jim Jordan. Just listen to these guys, and as I was sitting up there looking at them, the House Judiciary Committee, I was watching them, listening, and I was learning that you'll be surprised with a person to lie and to keep up with a lie and to keep lying in your face. I sat there and seen so many lies that I was amazed. So first thing I believe in is that accountability, number one. I don't care what you think. Let's talk about what's real. That's number one. Number two, I don't like this racism thing. Number one, I love all my people. I don't look at you as the color. I look at you as the color that you see under your fingernail. Look under your fingernail and you see that color. Because I'm going to tell you something. This is what a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know that when you look at a white person, which a term was invented in Virginia in the late 1800s, believe it or not, look it up. I will post it and send it to you. But the only thing different with them is two genes, and the name of that gene is the SLC24A5 and the SL gene 45A2. Other than that, it's no difference. So what I learned is that they do that to keep us mad at them. First thing I want to do is get that out. I don't want to hear nothing about minority. I don't want to hear nothing about black and white. I can't stand that talk. Why? Because in my life, I've received love from both of them. You understand? I receive respect from both of them. And when I see a little white child go out there and play, my heart feel the same way it do when I see a little black child go out and play. And I remember growing up as a child, we didn't see them for color. We seen them for the name on who they was. It's these ignorant old people that call themselves preachers. They call themselves pastors, but yet they ain't following the book of scripture. See, I ain't even gonna go there. We're gonna get that out of there. But these fake pastors claiming that they following the Lord and teaching about the Lord and all these God-fearing people. And this is my question to them. Scripture 3:16, something we all know, said, for God so loved the world. It didn't say for God so loved the blacks. It didn't say for God so loved the Jews. It didn't say for God so loved the Gentiles. It ain't say for God so loved the Arabs. It didn't say for God so loved the white folk. It said for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. So with that saying is, I believe like God believes. We all one. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna say that this person is hurting me when they poison in my water. But my next door neighbor, he white, we drink the same water. They poison in my food. He go to the same store I go to get my food. His child go to the same school my child go to. So I'm not trying to hurt that. And it ain't gonna be running. First thing, what they better learn, they want to sit around here and talk that lie about black and white folks. What is wrong with these ignorant people? What is wrong with them? Do your research. Look up Joshua Glover. You'll learn something. Joshua Glover, 1854. Learn about what happened in Knight Pond, Wisconsin in 1854, and you'll learn why the Republican Party was even invented. What happened before the Republican Party? It was the Whig Party. Before then, it was Democrat Republican Party. They was together. Why did they form that party? Because they ain't like what was going on to the blacks. And I'm going to tell you what's crazy. The same people that sit on them boards and act like they greater than thou or like they better than thou, they won't sit there and tell you, like NAACP, who invented that? I'll tell you. William English Wallens did in his New York apartment, a white man. But yet, see, they don't tell you, a Republican man, Murray Overton. But yet they walk around Portsmouth and talk about Ada Barber, but they won't look her up and realize she was a Republican who was invited into the NAACP in like 1908. It was already built. W.B. Du Bois, they kind of got into it. See, they don't even know their history. They allow these people that's using them and don't care about them to tell them their history. And what I would like to say to each and all of them while you're sitting there talking about minority businesses and how they ain't do this, that, and the third, how Miss Ada Barber get a whole park named after her? Mm-hmm. If they won't do nothing, how she get a whole park named after? See, understand, y'all got to throw that racism trash and it need to go away. Because it's only living in their minds to try to get into the people, to try to get them to believe something that they don't know, and they too ignorant to look it up. I'm tired. I'm so sick and tired of racism, sitting around there treating this person like they ain't no better. First off, if they spend the money in this city, they deserve to get the same amount of respect. I don't care if you spend $100 million or if you spend 42 cents. You should get the same respect. Why? Because you decided to bring your hind parts in this city and support us. And you know what? And even if you don't spend no money, your presence alone is good enough. And that's what they need to start telling people. When people see them disrespecting each other on that council, it spreads out in the street. It spreads out in the street, and that bring clashes in front of the people. And that's the problem. I'm tired of it, and they need, and I ain't got no problem speaking up on it. And as mayor, I would say something on it. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's disrespectful. Don't you do that. Don't you do that. You don't disrespect them because of their color. You don't disrespect nobody for something, but yet they gonna tell me, I ain't even gonna go there. I ain't gonna go there. I'm gonna leave it right there.
Yeah, this has been a whirlwind of 15 minutes of great intensity for the things that you care about in Portsmouth and want to change. And that's a good thing. I like to see that. But as we near the end of the show, I also want to see if we could turn this a little bit to maybe things that you really already like about Portsmouth, great businesses, great community aspects that you would like to hype up right about now that gives you a great Portsmouth patriotism.
Man, Old Town. I love Old Town, man. When you walk around Old Town, the people, the vibe you get just walking down from. See, growing up, I grew up out 77 Elm Avenue in Parkview, and we used to all get together and we used to walk from Parkview, take Elm Avenue, go down Crawford Street, take that all the way around, end up on Court Street, and sit in the library. Now, I used to love the library, and it's a beautiful place. Like, that is a beautiful place. The people in Portsmouth always been beautiful. The sites in Portsmouth have like one of the greatest histories ever. Like the waterfront. Like when you go to a lot of places, you miss things like the waterfront. You miss things like the City Park. City Park is a beautiful place. Like when you first come into City Park, look on the right, they got their nice path. Beautiful place where you can go and you can sit and you can picnic. I actually took a female out there a couple of days ago. We went out there picnic and just sit and enjoying the vibe. Portsmouth is a place where people come together. Other than what you see on the council, blacks and whites get along. Go down there. I used to stay on Florida Avenue, downtown Portsmouth. Go take 143 Florida Avenue, take that to the end. Right there, the strip where we used to get on to go to Churchland, and just look at the unity and the beauty down there. That is a beautiful place. What about Culpeper? Culpeper been around a long time. A great place to get great crabs. The crabs there, you get the oysters down there. You can rent your boat. They even got little spots you can go down there and sit and you can fish and you can crab at. What about Churchland? Churchland got some of the most gorgeous views you can see. Churchland got a beautiful, like back there in Peachtree. That's a good little area in a corner. It's in a corner away from everything. Nice, quiet community where people come together. They work together. They help each other. You got the YMCA. That's a good place where people come together. They help each other. Come on now. What about Sunset Thursday? How can you not love Sunset Thursday? That's a place where the whole city get together and they come together and they become one with each other. It's no fights. It's no arguments. People love each other. What about, hold on. What about the farmer's market? You gotta love the farmer's market, a place where a person like me to go to get your lamb's mane mushrooms. If you don't know any question you got, you can go down there and sit and talk and ask them about it. You can get fresh grown fruits and vegetables grown here. Portsmouth is a beautiful place. We got the go-karting place, been around for years. You got Ricky's Frozen Custards? Right there where you get the best custards around, been around supporting this for years. You got places like Pep Boys, been around for years. Sad to see Mosburg gone, but that was another gym. You got Corner Cafe, a good spot to go for breakfast. You got Cell Food Vegan spot, a great place on High Street to go. Even the people, like when you go and talk to the people downtown, you got beautiful people when you give them a chance to. Good people that more than
Cantina the other night.
Huh?
I just went to 619 Cantina the other night.
Man, yes, sir. Beautiful places. I mean, Portsmouth is a great place, but the people need a chance to get out and explore themselves. I mean, if you go around, you can see all kinds of food. Portsmouth is a place that everybody is a great cook. They're great chefs. You can try all different kinds of food. You can do so much here in this great city. It's like like Portside. Oh man, what you can do to Portside. You can do something as simple as set up tents right on down there in front of the stage and have somebody come and perform. Just imagine how great that is when you got the ferries, you can come get on the ferry ride. You got little boats that you can come down there and just sail. Like they got, I can't think of the name of the boat. It's a sailboat downtown Portsmouth that you can get on. They got late night sales. You can get your little drink and you can get to know your friends, you know. They got like adult cruises you could take on just to see the beautiful Elizabeth City River. I mean, Portsmouth is an amazing place. I remember dropping a boat off in City Park and taking a boat down over there, down to the Renaissance, getting out, getting a drink, having a nice little drink with some friends and just taking the Renaissance, listening to some music, coming on back.
Mhm.
It's just so much to do here in Portsmouth. The Children's Museum. Oh, we all love the Children's Museum. And everybody got a story about safety time. You know, everybody got a story about safety time. The only place where you can go and they actually, you know, where all the kids can go and learn about the streets and highways. You know.
Where would you go to watch the fireworks tomorrow?
Man, I'm going to tell you my favorite spot to watch the fireworks, the 14th floor in the Renaissance. But me personally, I probably go to right there at the end of Florida Avenue where I was saying right down there by Port Norfolk.
Mm-hmm.
Right over there. I probably sit over around there, throw something in there. I'm not a good crabber, but I just like to sit out there and think. You know, I throw something in there. I ain't a good catcher. When I do catch something, I got to cut my string. But yeah, I probably sit out there with a friend and, you know, just get to know it. I love the vibe down there, man.
Excellent. Sergio, as we get ready to wrap up, you got any last thoughts?
I just want to always say this. I tell anybody that puts their hat in the ring to be, you know, be in the limelight as an elected official here in this, I think, you know, all this stuff, I can say that, you know, about is to see more people stepping up and coming to the plate. You know, that I think we need more of that, because if we don't have that, and we get the same people, we end up with it. As definition of insanity is simple. You're doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. We can't keep doing it. You know, I believe that wholeheartedly. If you're not happy with what's going on, if you're not happy with, you know, the things that are taking place, if you're not happy with the level of representation that you're getting in, find somebody else. You know, and you know, it's good to see that somebody is willing to step up and throw their head out. And if you don't like choice 1, 2, I can look. I'm number 2 in the game. You know, you have a third option. You know, let's look at it. You know, and you know, I'm always going to say, you know, I you know, I've seen both candidates in action. I have a lot of respect for both candidates in action. You know, both incumbents in action. Let me say that. So I've seen them, you know, and you know, we had some disagreements and we've been able to voice them, you know, and you know, but also too, I'm all of the opinion. If we, you know, if there's something that, you know, is still lingering for me, you know, I'm still gonna look around, you know, and ultimately, I'm gonna make sure I do my best to make the most informed decision. So I really appreciate you stepping up and putting your hat in the ring, and best of luck to you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you, man. Yes, sir. And like I say, man, one thing about it, and I do agree with you on that. I myself do know, and I do understand that, but we have to get a start. You know, a lot of people, they talk about, a lot of people don't want to do it, but for change, you have to have a change. And, you know, I to be honest, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. This is not a job that I want to do. It's not a job that nobody just want to step up and do, but it's something that has to be done. It has to be done. I was looking at, National Treasure, and he was reading a part from the Constitution that said, you know, pretty much what he was saying was that when people go through so much and they do so much and they try so much, and the people that you're giving your faith to, when they're completely failing, you have to step up. If you have the ability to do it, you have the responsibility to do it. And I know I have the ability to it, so I had the responsibility to do it. So I got to step up. I'm not scared of nobody. And one thing I will not do is I can't sit up here and say I got respect for somebody when I got to look at their mothers who kids dying. These people are horrible at their job. And if any one of them had any morals or respect for themselves, they would quit. They would quit. Because if it was me and I did a job that bad and see that I can't help, I'm gone.
Excellent. Well, I want to, of course, thank Mr. Sergio Neal for being a great panelist tonight and asking some good questions and follow-ups. And candidate himself, Mr. Harold Carothers III, I want to thank you for not only running for mayor of Portsmouth, but coming on the show so we can reach out to more people of Portsmouth to hear more of your vision. Thank you for sharing it tonight. I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. And tune in next time for SchezzWho, because I'm trying to reach out for the next great mayor candidate, Lisa Lucas-Brooke, to come on. So just hope everyone watches and asks questions and has a great time in Portsmouth. Again, thank you, Mr. Carothers. You have a great night.
Thank you.